We have some breaking news coming in. The army has foiled a major infiltration bid by terrorists near the line of control in the Uri sector of North Kashmir. As per the latest reports, 4 terrorists have been eliminated by the army. 2 army Jawans have been injured in that encounter. Our reporter Shuja Al-Haq now joins me live from Srinagar. Shuja, just take us through the details of this encounter.
Well, Vedika, this encounter began early this morning when there was an input about the possibility of a group of militants and their movement in Uri sector of line of control. That's when this encounter began, and what we have learned so far is that 4 militants have been killed in this and 2 army Jawans have also suffered injuries. The operation is still on. They're carrying out the searches and combing in this entire area. But the army is claiming that this was an infiltration bid and they have managed to foil it even before these militants could cross over from the other side of line of control. Vedika, remember, this is not the first such incident. There have been of late in past a month only various such incidents of infiltration bids in North Kashmir areas, particularly in these sectors only, where militants have tried to sneak in, and there have been encounters because of that.
Shuja, do stay with me. We have some more breaking news coming in, and I am going to come back to you on that. We now believe that there are heavy clashes between youth and police at Anantnag, the venue where Saeed Ali Shah Gilani was going to address a rally. He was under house arrest and denied to leave. Shuja, bring us details on the clashes also that are taking place in Anantnag.
Well, the Anantnag town is where Saeed Ali Shah Gilani had to address a rally today. He had announced that he would have offered his Friday prayers there, and then post the namaz he would probably address people out there. But he wasn't allowed to leave from his residence at Srinagar. This morning we saw a contingent of police right outside his house, and the leader and other party members were not allowed to move out. That's perhaps what enraged the people in Anantnag who had probably gathered to listen to him, and that's what has perhaps led to these clashes. So far we learned that the police has resorted to tear gas smoke shells, and they are trying to disperse the mob there and bringing the situation under control.
All right, Shuja, thanks for bringing us up to speed with those 2 developing stories from Jammu and Kashmir. But do stay with us. We're now turning our focus to a very big story emerging from the state. Pictures of militants in Jammu and Kashmir in combat uniform and with AK-47s has gone viral, sending the security agencies into a tizzy. Now, the picture, which remained on Facebook for 2 days, showed 11 militants. You can see them on your screens there. Sources say that they recently joined the banned Hizbul Mujahideen terror outfit. The Jammu and Kashmir police have decided to block these Facebook pages on which these pictures appeared. Shuja Al-Haq is still with us. Shuja, just take us through what your sources are telling you. Most of these people have been identified?
Well, that's right. Most of these people have been identified. In fact, the police has all the know-how about their identities. There's a picture which also has the names of these militants, and most of them are from the Hizbul Mujahideen outfit. That's what we are told by the sources, and it is also been told that this picture perhaps was taken recently in one of these areas of South Kashmir between Tral and Pulwama. That's what we are gathering from our police sources. But this picture and other pictures also had cropped up on a Facebook page just a couple of days back, and it went absolutely viral. There were several likes and shares that these pictures have seen, and that's what the cause of concern to the security agencies has been, and that's perhaps why they've been taken off from the social networking sites. But this doesn't sort of take away the fact that it proves that there are militants right there in South Kashmir area.
Right, Shuja, I'm going to come back to you because the question we're putting out is, are terrorists operating without any fear? We have our first caller on that question that we've put out. Karthik calling in from Chennai. Karthik, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a real shame to see those pictures for international parties, BJP, to literally handle the state of Jammu Kashmir to separatists, and which should actually choose the government in PNK and withdraw from that coalition raise grace in the best part of India for it. Infiltration. This is shameful, and I don't know how to express it. Yeah,
all right, Karthik, thanks for calling in. Karthik, they're a concerned citizen, really asking tough questions there of what really is happening in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. But coming back to you, Shuja, any word from the Jammu and Kashmir government yet?
Well, so far there hasn't been any specific word on this, but we've learned from our sources that the police has already, launched the investigation into this, and they are sort of tracking the movement of these militants. We've been told that they are on the lookout, and in fact, all the militants in this picture have been identified. One very interesting part is that one of the militants is been identified as a former Jammu and Kashmir police, personal security officer of a senior minister in Jammu and Kashmir cabinet. He had gone missing just 2 months back, decamping with 2 rifles from the house of the minister. Ever since there had been a lookout, but recently he was owned by the Hizbul Mujahideen, and they had made an announcement that he had joined them. He is also part of this picture, so that speaks for itself, and that sort of makes it clear in terms of who these people are.
All right.
What their outfits are.
Shuja, back to you in a moment. I believe we have another caller, Mr. Arvind Kumar, calling in from Patna. Mr. Kumar, आप क्या बोलना चाहते हैं?
मैडम, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ मैडम कि मैंने कश्मीर में बहुत सारी जगह दौरा किया है. वहाँ के जो जनरल पब्लिक है मैडम, they are not, wanting militants and militancy in any way. Larger population, they want peace and progress in the valley. Okay, so
yes, go ahead.
So what I suggest to the government, to your channel, that they should publish, a good number of pamphlets detailing the demerits and harms of militancy and distribute in all the villages in Jammu and Kashmir.
All right, Mr. Kumar, thanks for calling in. Hariharan also calling in from Ranchi. Mr. Hariharan, go ahead.
I just wanted to tell only one thing, that though these militant Facebooks have been captured on Facebook by channels, I would request investigative journalism to also track them down, because journalism has gone so far and so deep. It could always track and get the militants to book. That's also a social responsibility of all channels.
All right, right, Mr. Hariharan, and that's our attempt here. We're trying to put out these pictures as well, because this is a worrying situation for the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Shuja Al Haq is still with us. Shuja, quite an audacious move by these 11 militants on our screens.
Well, that's right. It's very unheard of that militant groups would members of a militant group would post their pictures in such an open manner. It seems that there was a motive behind posting these pictures, and the fact that they already know that most of them have been identified, so there is no need to hide their faces. And that's what the worrying situation is. That's why, as I was pointing out, perhaps the security forces have decided to take down these pictures and the pages from the social networking sites. But yes, it is quite an audacious move, and something that hasn't been seen or heard of before, at least in this part of the state.
Right, Shuja, do stay with me. We also have Mr. Muthu calling in from Bengaluru. Mr. Muthu, go ahead.
This is very critical. The government has to take a very positive and stern action against these people. The entire state of Jammu and Kashmir should be brought under control of the central government, and the army should be reinforced to crack this.
All right.
There should be a hard decision taken on this.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Mr. Muthu. Shuja, coming back to you, it's not going to be very difficult even to track down the address, the Facebook address of the person who's actually put these pictures up.
Well, that's right, and I think that's perhaps the job of those people who have already been put on it from the security agencies. But what needs to be understood is that these militants have been functioning in this area for quite some time. In fact, one of the main man in this picture is Burhan. He's believed to be one of the key militants in this area, one of the topmost militants in this area, also youngest in terms of age. So these militants are there for quite some time, and the fact that they have not been able to, the security forces have not been able to track them down, clearly speaks volumes about their tactical sophistication in terms of ensuring that they stay away from the glare of the security forces while carrying out their jobs.
Right, Shuja. We also have another caller, Dr. Malik, calling in from Delhi. Dr. Malik, what do you have to say?
Ma'am, it's a simple thing. Till this Article 320 or 320, whatever it is not removed. I don't know what are the reasons government always have to speak about this. But still people have an option of going with Pakistan, having an independence, or being with India. These kind of militancies and militants will keep cropping up, will be growing.
Yes.
Better to resolve this problem once and for all. At the end of the day, what was the reason when the ruler of Jammu and Kashmir joined hands with India? That was a different time. Today, as on date, the whole of the country is suffering. And we have left this particular issue of joining Kashmir permanently as other states have joined. So it's better to remove this article and let the people have a single stand and be straight. The youth should understand they're part of India, and India is a country, single country. Not that there's an option of J&K. So people are manipulating their minds and giving them these options of terrorism or giving them liquidative either money or arms to do all these things. So it's better to get rid of this Kashmir issues once and for all. We can't blame these 10 people, or another 10 would be coming and joining always. So this would keep happening.
All right, Dr. Malik, thanks for calling in. We do respect your point of view there, but if it were that easy,